Hi, and welcome to 4-Inch Cats, and today's replay of my Introduction to Alternative Chords workshop. Or, as I probably should say, Introduction to Chord Substitution. This workshop that I ran a few days ago was only my second uke workshop on Zoom, and it's still a pretty high learning curve for me. As it was pointed out, the contents of this workshop is really not about alternative chords, but more about chord substitution. So apologies to anyone if I gave the wrong impression. A big shout out thanks to Alan, Michael and Melinda for your patience and your invaluable feedback from the workshop. The really big takeaway I got from running the workshop was I really need to split baritone and standard tuning. That it really is too confusing to be going, switching his baritone, his tenor, his baritone, his tenor. Okay, we're not going to do that. Hi, and welcome to the standard tuning component of this workshop. So, if we're looking at a standard progression 1-4-5, by 1-4-5 we're talking scale degrees. So, if C is our 1, F is our 4, G is our 5, back to 1 with our C. Oh yeah, that's nice, not very exciting. Depends what you're doing with it, I guess. What we're going to be doing with it is looking at some chord substitutions. So, rather than just playing C, let's look at some C substitutions. So we've got C, we've got C major 7 and C7, C major, C major 7, C7. A really nice chord progression. Does it sound a little tiny bit familiar, like something maybe? Something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover. Yep, it's the Beatles. It's a great chord progression and an easy one too. So that's something you can think about. C is an interesting chord. One finger chord, it's an easy chord. But if you wanted a little bit of variety with your C chord, then I would recommend a C5. Now to get your C5, take your C and just put a finger on the second string of the 3rd fret. Listen for the subtle difference. C, C5, C, C5. Now, if you've been handed a chord sheet and it says play C major, play C major. But if you're experimenting or you're doing your own arrangement or you're just experimenting with chords, try a C5. I love it, absolutely love it. I think it gives really lovely texture and a lovely tone. So, tones, that's an interesting thing. So if I go to my F, F major, first position, great, yep, no problem. But if I place my little finger down here, or your ring finger, which is easier for you, I find it easier with the little finger, without, with, that's an F second position. Now this then gives us a note in common with our C chord, which is actually called a common tone. So a common tone is a note or a tone that is shared by more than one chord. So to go from here is more pleasing to the ear than just to go. Now, of course, it's personal preference, but I personally think that's a much nicer sound. So then if we go back to our G, it's not really, are there any common tones there? Well, that would depend. If you're playing your C5, you go to your G, you can see there's a common tone there. Which means if we play our C5, F second position, G, then there's a common tones. So already we have some variation and some lovely texture with chord substitution. But now I'm going to throw something completely left of center into the mix, and that is A sharp. Ta-da! A sharp! Now I can see some of you sitting there going, oh my God, what are you doing? It's a bar chord. When am I ever going to play A sharp? Come on. What are you doing to us, Morgana? Well, bear with me, because it's actually can be quite pretty. So if I play our standard 1-4-5, I'm going to throw the A sharp in. So if I do C, A sharp, F, G, C. That's nice. But if we go to our chord substitution, C5, A sharp major 7, F, F second, D, back to C5. Now to get your A sharp major 7, forget the bar chords. We start there, second string first fret, third string second fret, fourth string third fret. Don't try and say that when you're drunk. I think that's so much prettier than that. And it's a lot easier to play, especially with someone with small hands. Thanks, Dad. Small hands. Isn't that pretty? But poor old G chord, feeling neglected, no substitution. It's getting a bit tired, we're playing him so much. So what can we do with our G? Well, if we just take our G and stick our little finger, third fret, first string, and that gives us a G sus 4 or a G suspended 4. That's lovely. Now the one last chord I'm going to throw at you is definitely not really connected to a lot of things so far in this lesson, and that is the F add 9. Now doesn't that sound like a disgustingly complicated chord that's going to have your fingers in knots? F add 9 is this. That's it. So you've basically taken your F chord and taken the top string off. Now you could play it with your F. But I think it actually sounds better if you play it with your G. So if you do G major, G sus4, just tuck that little finger in, then play your F add 9, back to your G. So there you have it. Lots and lots that you can work with. Mix them in, substitute them in, substitute them out, mix them up. Lots and lots and lots that you can do with substituting chords. So I hope you found that helpful. Thank you again to everyone for your patience. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.